Hi everyone, I hope you're ready for the next two chapters of our Magic Treehouse number 29, Christmas in Camelot. So let's see what happens. We're left off chapter 3, the Knights of the Round Table. A pair of torches dimly lit the drafty entrance hall of the castle. Shadows danced on the worn tapestries. "Wait here," said Morgan. "I will tell the king of your arrival." She headed through the huge stone archway that led to the great hall. "Let's peek in," Annie said to Jack. Jack pushed his glasses into place. He and Annie walked quietly over to the big arch and peered in. The ceiling of the great hall towered high above a stone floor. At the far end of the room, King Arthur and his knights were sitting at a huge round table. They wore brown tunics. They had shaggy hair and beards. Their names were carved in gold letters on the backs of their chairs. "The Knights of the Round Table," whispered Jack. There they are, sitting at the round table. Morgan was talking to King Arthur. Beside the king sat a woman in a plain gray robe. She had pale skin and brown curly hair. "Queen Guinevere," whispered Annie. Morgan left the king, and Jack and Annie moved quickly back into the shadows. A moment later, Morgan appeared. "I told the king that two special friends of his have just arrived," she said. "Come with me." As I walked through with Morgan through the great hall, Jack shivered. The huge room was drafty and damp. There was no fire in the fireplace. The stone floor was so cold that Jack could feel the chill through his sneakers. They stopped near the round table. The King Arthur stared at them with his piercing gray eyes. "Greetings from Frog Creek," Annie said to the king and queen. Annie bowed, and then Jack bowed too. The queen smiled, but King Arthur did not. "Your Majesty, you remember Jack and Annie?" said Morgan. "You met them last summer in my library." "Ah, indeed. I shall never forget them," King Arthur said softly. "Greetings, Annie. Greetings, Jack. How do you come to be in Camelot on this bleak night?" "We came in the magic tree house," said Annie. A shadow crossed the king's face, and he looked at Morgan. "No, your Majesty, I did not use my magic to bring them here," she said. "Perhaps a bit of magic still lingers in the treehouse, and it traveled on its own." What is going on? Jack wondered. Why does King Arthur seem unhappy about the magic treehouse? King Arthur looked back at Jack and Annie. "However you have come, you are welcome in my kingdom," he said. He turned to the queen. "Guinevere, these are the two friends who once gave me hope and courage in a time of need." Queen Guinevere smiled again, but there was a sad look in her eyes. "Ah, I have heard much about you," she said. "I've heard about you too," said Annie. "Allow me to present my knights," King Arthur said. "Sir Bors, Sir Kay, Sir Tristram." As the king named each knight, Jack and Annie nodded shyly. Then the knights nodded at them. Jack waited to hear the name Sir Lancelot, the most famous of Camelot's knights, but the king never said his name. "And finally, there's Sir Bedivere and Sir Gawain," King Arthur said. The king turned to three empty chairs at the table. "And there once sat three who are lost to us now." "Lost how?" wondered Jack. "You may sit at their places and join our dinner," King Arthur said. "Thank you," said Annie. Following Morgan around the table, Jack read the names carved on the backs of the chairs: Sir Lancelot, Sir Galahad, and Sir Percival. Jack took off his backpack and sat down in Sir Lancelot's place. As he sat tall and straight in the heavy wooden chair, Jack looked at the king and his knights. They were gnawing meat off of bones, and they were slurping their drinks from heavy goblet cups. They ate without manners or without delight. Jack really wanted to take notes. He reached into his backpack under the table and pulled out a notebook and pencil. But before he could write a word, a serving boy brought more food. Jack quickly put his things away, and the boy set a greasy slab of beef on a soggy piece of bread in front of him. The food looked terrible. "Not much of a Christmas feast, huh?" Annie said in a low voice. Jack shook his head. Annie leaned close to Morgan and whispered so that King Arthur wouldn't hear. "What happened to the three lost knights?" "Well, after Mordred's dark wizard cast his spell, the king sought help from the magicians of Camelot. They told him that he must send knights on a quest to the other world to recapture our kingdom's joy." "What's the other world?" "It's an ancient, enchanted land beyond the edge of the earth, the place where all magic first began." "Wow," whispered Annie. The king chose his 3 bravest knights to journey there. When they did not come back, Arthur turned against his magicians. He blamed magic for all of Camelot's woes. Hence, he has banned magic of any kind in this kingdom forever. But you're a magician, whispered Annie. Did the king turn against you too? Arthur and I have a long friendship, said Morgan. He has allowed me to stay in the castle as long as I promise not to practice the art of magic ever again. A feeling of dread crept over Jack. So, does that mean that the magic treehouse is... Yes, it is banished from Camelot, she said. I'm afraid this will be your last journey, and this will be the last time we ever see each other. Her eyes filled with tears, and she looked the other way. What? The last time we see each other forever? Said Annie. But before Morgan could answer, the wooden door swung open with a bang, and the wind rushed through the great hall. The torches and candles flamed brighter, making the shadows leap wildly up the walls. The sound of hoofbeats filled the room. A knight on a huge horse rode through the arched doorway. The knight was dressed in all red, from his shining helmet to the long cloak on his back. His horse was dressed in all green, from the armor that covered his head to the cloth that hung from his saddle. Oh, wow, breathed Annie. It's a Christmas night. And that takes us to chapter 4, Who Will Go? I have come to see King Arthur, or Arthur the King, the Christmas knight said. His deep voice echoed from inside his helmet. His red armor gleamed in the firelight. King Arthur stood up. He stared fiercely at the knight, but spoke in a calm, steady voice. I am Arthur the King. Who are you? But the knight did not answer Arthur's questions. So, you are the legendary King Arthur of Camelot, and these must be the famous knights of the Round Table. Yes, said King Arthur, and again I ask, who are you? The Christmas knight still did not answer Arthur's questions. The spell of the dark wizard has robbed Camelot of its joy, said the Christmas knight. Has it robbed you and your men of courage as well? You dare to question our courage? King Arthur asked in an angry voice. And here they are at the dinner table. And here's the Christmas knight that came in on the horse. Camelot is dying, the Christmas knight boomed. Why has no one journeyed over to the other world to recapture its joy? I sent my best knights on a quest, and they never returned. Then you need to send more, thundered the Christmas knight. No, never again will I feel good sending men to the magic and monsters of the other world. Jack felt a chill of fear. What monsters? Then you need to choose your fate, said the Christmas knight. If you will send no one else to the other world, all that your kingdom has gained through time, all the beauty and music and wonder and light that Camelot has ever been or ever will be lost and forgotten forever. No, shouted Annie. Shh, Annie, said Jack. The Christmas knight turned to the knights at the table. Who will go? He boomed. We will, shouted. Can you guess who? Annie. We will, said Jack. Yes, we will go on the quest, Annie yelled. She jumped up. No, cried Morgan Le Fay. Never, said King Arthur. Annie, said Jack. He leaped up from his chair to try to grab her. Yes, thundered the Christmas knight. He pointed his red gloved hand at Jack and Annie. The youngest of all, these two, they will go. You're mocking us, King Arthur shouted. They will go, boomed the knight. His words echoed throughout the hall. Oh, no, thought Jack. Yes, said Annie. She pulled Jack toward the Christmas knight. King Arthur turned to his men. Stop them. Several knights started to rush toward Jack and Annie, and the Christmas knight raised his gloved hand high in the air. In an instant, the room fell very quiet. Everyone around the table was as still as a statue. King Arthur looked like the statue of a furious king. Queen Guinevere looked like the statue of a worried queen. The knights of the Round Table looked like statues of fierce knights. And Morgan Le Fay looked like the statue of a caring friend. Her mouth was open, as if she was calling out to Jack and Annie, but no sounds came from her lips. No sound at all. Whoa. And that takes us to chapter 5, Rhymes of the Christmas Night. So this has me wondering, did that Christmas night actually freeze everyone there at the round table? Oh, this is kind of creepy. Look at the picture on the cover here. It's Jack and Annie riding a big deer of some sort. This book is good and interesting. I can't wait to see what happens. So tune in tomorrow for the next 2 chapters. I hope you are enjoying it. I love you guys. Talk to you later. Bye.